Hello, Shelley Hutchinson. It is so lovely to see you here. Um, so I just want to ask you a couple of questions about working with me, and along the lines of what were you struggling with? Why did you come in the first place? What were you dealing with, um, to make you
Yeah,
join you did my 4-month program, Breakthrough to Brilliance.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm delighted to be here and talking about my experience working with you, Glynis, because, we've worked together a couple of times, and every time I work with you, I get so much out of it and it helps me so much. But when I came to you this time to start on your 4-month program, there were a couple of things going on for me. I knew I needed some support, particularly emotional support. My partner had been going through a journey with cancer for the previous 6 months, 7 months, and had thankfully come through it. But then I got told that my health, there was a little bit of an issue around my health because I have a genetic heart condition, and I just felt, look, I need to get some support. Like trying to manage all of this, keep everything running with the business, and cope with what's going on in my personal life. I just knew I needed to give myself that support and have that emotional outlet. And I am so glad that I did, because so much happened after that. So
Yeah.
it was really helpful to have your support and have you there.
Yeah, thank you. And I was so glad to be there actually, because even when we're dealing with personal things, it really affects our business. We are our business really and our brand. So, and you were so coming up to that, and you were about to launch. Do you want to talk a little bit about how maybe working with me during the launch?
Phase, yes, yes. So um, I run a business where in case you don't know me, I teach people how to grow their businesses. I teach LinkedIn primarily, but I'm also teaching mindset as well. And every couple of months, I tend to do a launch to bring new students in for my programs. Now, the launch process is very busy. Whatever launch you do, whenever you're launching programs or products, it's always quite busy, and there's quite an amount of stress in terms of the amount of ad spend that I've spent up front ahead of the launch. So there's always that kind of commitment. And having sort of been dealing with some issues in my personal life and running the business at the same time, I just, to be honest, was getting tired. I think at that point, around it was probably a month into our work together, and I was just feeling a little bit tired, really. And when it came to the sort of next launch I was doing, I think that just everything I'd been dealing with, my sort of self-confidence, self-motivation, had just waned a little bit at that point, because there was just a lot that I was dealing with. And I'd been also witnessing a lot of changes with LinkedIn, and wanting to make sure that what my courses and what I offer is really up to date. As it turns out, those changes haven't been as profound as we thought they were going to be. But at the time when there's changes happening, that is an additional kind of factor that was playing on my mind, because for me, it's always really important to offer my students up to date information on what's working right now. So those things all coupled together, I was finding that going through the process, I was just feeling a bit more tired, a bit more sort of stressed by kind of everything that I needed to get done, and the process, that I needed to guide my team through as well. And things were just not quite going the way I wanted them to go. Now, there's always ups and downs with any launch, but I felt that my mindset was not helping me at that moment. So I talked to Glynis about it, and I said, look, I think just with the pressure that I'm feeling, with everything that's been going on personally, I just need a bit of support to get back into that place in myself where I feel really on top of my game, really confident in what I'm doing, and just my normal self really when it comes to this. And we just had one session and just worked through kind of what was coming up for me, what I was worrying about. You did a brilliant meditation with me. And just straight away, immediately, it was like night and day. And the difference was everything with the launch started just working perfectly. The obstacles were just kind of ironed out. I was getting onto calls and it was really easy. I was meeting perfect clients and bringing them through onto my program. I actually ended up with the group I ended up bringing together was actually full of quite advanced entrepreneurs who'd been in business for 5-6 years, sometimes 10 years for some of them. So actually what I ended up attracting, and I've been so kind of worried about making sure I was on top of the changes, but actually what was happening was that I ended up attracting advanced entrepreneurs who were ready for a more advanced program. So there I was worrying about whether or not I was going to be able to, keep up to date for everyone, make sure it was up to date. And actually I shouldn't have worried, because what happened was I brought through entrepreneurs who'd already got the basics in place with LinkedIn. We were then working on the more advanced strategies, and really boosting their lead generation on LinkedIn, taking it to another altogether different level. And that was, I think that was kind of what came out of our session together. I think, I've just been worrying unnecessarily, and, what I ended up offering, what ended up coming through was actually a more advanced program. So I ended up with a group that I did more advanced work with than I would normally do on that program. So it was all perfect.
I think the first session we did was an RTT session, and that one really was like the key to turn things around. But there's always this play then of settling into that mode when we make that change. There's always sort of what's been stuck in our mind, because we're manifesting all the time.
That's
And we're
it.
manifesting by what we're feeling and our emotions. But there's this little play that things can go wrong at any moment.
You can really start to question what you're doing. And then with launches, your mindset is absolutely key. And when you're getting onto calls with people, your confidence, your mindset is what's key to making it work. It's understandable when things change, there is quite unsettling. And for me, that part of me that's very responsible wants to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I'm offering the best. I've got the best programs. I'm offering the best strategies and formulas. That part of me, which is quite a high achiever part, was being a perfectionist and actually getting in my way. It was blocking me because I just needed to relax a bit, let go, and everything I was doing was perfect. It was fine. I'd got everything together in terms of the strategy. What I taught worked really well. There was nothing really to worry about, but it was just I was blocking myself because I wanted to make sure it was perfect. To pick up on what you said about the RTT sessions, I think the RTT sessions that are part of the program were immensely important to our work together. They really provided a depth, and right from word go, the first RTT session brought up some things that I wasn't really aware that I was going to be experiencing, but it made me aware of the fact that actually I didn't feel we were living in the right place. So actually it started a process of, which I'm still doing right now, of deciding to sell my house and move us back to where I was living before, and myself and my partner. And actually we realized that after what we'd been through is his health journey, we just needed to be closer to friends, closer to social life, and we weren't in that place. We're not living, so it was amazing what came out of the RTT session that I wasn't anticipating, but also on a sort of emotional level and on a sort of personal level. the healing from that RTT session inside was very, very powerful. Just there was some very important kind of letting go of past experiences that happened, and I think all of this was allowing me to move into the future. That having had several years with the pandemic, and then with my partner's health issues, we'd had a few years of not really being able to see friends, not really being able to socialize that much. It really just brought into view what's important to me, and when I spoke to my partner, what's important to him as well. We just got much clearer on actually what we need right now and what I particularly need myself moving forwards and want in my life and future.
It's fabulous. Thank you for sharing that. And actually, I think that's key, because things are always changing, and we get sort of used to, or we seem like we're happy on the outside, but when something isn't going right, we don't think of all of the layers that are below it that we can't see, that are in our subconscious mind. So I think RTT is brilliant for that, to be able to find out what's really going on in the subconscious mind that's making those blocks. And we did a bit of future projection, which is what I do to help people move into the future, to see what you're doing and how that's playing out. And I think, that was all really interesting as well for you to be able to see.
On the future projection, I definitely think that was helpful, because one of the things I had been struggling with before I came to work with you was sort of, as well as dealing with sort of the emotions that were going on at the time, the other thing I was struggling with was kind of not really being clear on what I wanted for the next kind of part of my life, what I actually wanted in my future. I couldn't really quite see what I wanted. And I think that's because, there'd just been so much kind of just coping with in the now with what had been happening. And I knew I wanted to get more sense of what it was I actually wanted for the future. I knew I wanted to be really creating the next few years of my life and my life with my partner, really creating that for us, or for me, but also then together. And I wasn't used to not knowing what I wanted. I'm quite clear, and I know what I want, and I work towards it. But I'd been, over the several previous months, I knew that I just couldn't see what I really wanted. It got lost a bit in everything else that had gone on. So the future projection was really important in helping me to start seeing it. And I'd say it's just about what was going to make me happy, what I was going to enjoy. How did I want not just my life, but also how do I want my business to be in a few years' time? Where am I actually trying to go with all of this? What is it I'm trying to lead to, or what do I want to enjoy more of now as I'm on this journey? So it really helped with starting to tap more into what's really of importance to me now. And I could feel it, maybe, even if I still can't totally see it, I was able to feel in that what's really important. And I think that some of the shifts, some of the things that I'm wanting have already started to come in. So we're getting some of that coming in already, but it's very difficult when you're in that space and you're just not really sure what's going to make you happy, because you've just lost the connection with that. Once you reconnect with yourself, actually just it's like there's a little bit more peace. So it's almost hard now to remember back to what it was like a few months ago when I wasn't sure of where I was wanting to go.
And actually, when you had been through so much that it actually, we stop asking, and even to make changes, even if those changes are really good changes, it takes something in us to really step up to that next version of ourselves. And I think that the future projection gives you a sense of that next version. So as you start to become that first and act and, move forward with that part of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very good way to describe it.
Did you have reservations about working with me? For I know you've worked with me before, and you knew that you needed work done, but did you have any reservations about doing the program, or because it was 4 months, or what sort of
Yeah,
um,
no, I didn't really have any reservations because I knew it was something I needed. Um, so yeah, I didn't really have any reservations. I I think I think for me it was more. I knew when I was making the investment that the investment was going to come back many times over, because if I'm looked after, if I'm well, and if
yeah,
I'm happy, and if I'm emotionally feeling supported, then everything else works around me. The business works, my relationship with my partner's good, everything else around me works when I'm in a good space.
yeah,
So no, for me, it wasn't, there weren't really any reservations. It was more about, um, this is what I need to do. And yeah, and I knew that you were the right person. Um, I mean, and I'd been looking as well. So I'd been, even though I'd worked with you before and we'd been in touch, I had been trying to figure out what is it that is going to help me in this moment.
yeah,
Um, is that a course? Is it one-to-one? What was it that I was really needing? And I happened upon a meditation of yours in your group, because I'm in your Facebook group, and I did the meditation and I was like, okay, this is it. This is actually it. And then I think the next day I sent you a message and said, Glynis, I think I need to speak to you. And it was like, okay, this is actually what I'm needing.
So you liked we met weekly on this. The meditations you found very
Yeah,
helpful.
so obviously, Glynis does some free meditation. You do my free meditations in your Facebook group. And by the way, if anyone's not listened to them, you should just definitely listen to them, because the value in them is phenomenal. They are life-changing all on their own. But the meditations then that you did for me in our live sessions, which were then personalized to me, to what was going on for me, what I was needing, were absolutely brilliant. So I'm still using them, and I have a whole collection in my Dropbox account of every kind of meditation I might need on all different topics. And it's great because, I'm quite practiced in meditation. I do a lot of meditation. I have a lot of meditations of my own and create them. But when you have someone else that's guiding you, even if you are good at creating your own meditations and you do that for others, do you know what? There are times when you just need to just let go, put your hands up, and be supported by someone else.
Yeah.
And what you were able to do with those meditations for me was just allow me to go, I can just allow myself to be supported. I don't have to try and support myself through this on my own. I can actually just relax and allow myself to be supported. And your meditations just extended out from each session we had. I was able to use them to continue getting the benefit, on a regular daily basis, or even as frequently as I wanted. And I think that's what makes a massive difference. And the transformation that you end up having is when you continue to experience bringing your mind and your being into that space of where what you're wanting, and you were giving me that support to just either let go of feelings that I need to let go of limiting beliefs, or focus on what it is I wanted and allow in that future, and to start really seeing that future as already happening in this moment. So yeah, it's super supportive, and I love your meditations.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually feel that it's that support from other people. We are supporting people all the time, but we also to have that space to be held while we're making a big transformation. And even though, RTT is really powerful and, transformational, there's still that part of you that needs to be held while
Yes.
you're actually going through the transformation, so that you don't backtrack or second guess yourself or any of that. So I'm presuming you would recommend this so to others.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I would recommend this to anyone that knows that they need a bit of support with their emotional well-being or their mindset. I'd also recommend it if you're a business owner as well, and there's blocks that are coming up that are holding you back with your business. I'd recommend it to you as well for sure. It's even more important if you are creating your own paycheck every single month to keep your mindset in a great place.
Yeah.
But whether you are self-employed or not, if you need that emotional support, if you know that you've got some mindset blocks going on, if you know you want to create a different reality for yourself, if you've got a sense of a future that you want to make happen, but you don't know how to make it happen in this moment, if you're in that place, I would definitely do it as well. It's not just if there's a problem, it's actually if you've got something that something big that you're wanting to make happen, or big change in your life you want to make happen, or in your business. Definitely working with you, Glynis, can help activate that as well. So yeah, I'd
Yeah, I think
110% recommend working with Glynis. It's going to change your life. So
thank you for that. That was beautiful and lovely to feedback actually, and to hear all of that. And yes, I think actually, we tend to look out for something to help when we're at a bad state, when we are bleak, and when we really feel that we're stuck. But actually, you don't need to wait until you're stuck. You can actually, it's up leveling. We're all constantly changing and up leveling. So when we want to scale in business or scale in life or change to something that we want, that we maybe don't feel that we could ever have or deserve, we've all of these little blocks. They're just mindset blocks, but once they're gone, sky's the limit. Anything can happen.
Absolutely, and thank you, Glynis, because the work we did together has been so incredible for me, and just your support has been phenomenal. Like it's priceless. You cannot put a price on the support and what the difference that can make to your life. It's just it's phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was really lovely catching up with you on this. And I will really look forward to following your progress and seeing where you're going to next, because I know you've moved on even hugely in the last couple of months that I've been working with you. So really excited for your future. Thank you very much.